Hello, hello, hello everybody, and welcome back for the final round of this Tier 1 season here in Season 4 of LRC, and we are today at one of the best circuits on the calendar, in many drivers' opinion. It is, of course, none other than Interlagos. Where better to have your season finale? My name is Koolest, and unfortunately I will once again be the only commentator joining you today, but we do have qualifying already getting underway. If I can pull up the graphic here for you. There we go. So we'll be straight out here. Unfortunately, just have some difficulties getting into the session, as seems to be the norm at this point, thanks to some interesting codemasters. I don't even know what you call them, systems, I suppose. Either way, we're here now, and we have qualifying already underway, and we have a fairly solid field today. I believe 15 or 16 drivers, so not too shabby for the final race of this season. And we have some very strong drivers as well in terms of pace, so it should be a very interesting one here. Of course, Interlagos known for having generally very close times in qualifying, so with the calibre of driver on offer today, hopefully we are going to see more of that, as we have one of the Alfa Romeos crossing the line. I think that is Leland about to go and start his lap. No, it is not. Who is this? I don't know. Oh, it's AERO. Okay, yeah, AERO. As number 25, and he is currently P1 in the session, so good start by him. We know that he is pretty good at this track, as he is as he reminded us of last week in the driver interviews. We ride on board with the Portuguese driver now, of course the Tier 2 champion, so reserving again for the final time today in Tier 1 for this season. Obviously everyone making their final drives, and AERO getting very close to the track limits as he goes through turn 7, I believe that is that, or turn 8, sorry, and now exiting turn 10, getting a big snap of oversteer, and that is going to be enough for him to back out. I think he might have gotten held up a little bit there by some traffic, so going to have to let that lap go. The Alpine potentially getting a little bit in the way, just maybe distracting AERO. That is Afari, I believe, who is making his way up the hill, about to start his first lap in qualifying on a set of soft tyres. But yeah, we have, just running you through the order quickly, we have Andretti currently in second in the pits alongside Julian, who is back for this last race of the season, and then Shadow up in fourth, Phil in fifth place, Sippet in sixth, reserving for Haas today, so they will have a good chance in the Constructors, and we'll get onto that in just a second. Then we have Cooper at the moment in seventh, Sol eighth in the Alpine alongside Afari, who is diving down into Descida del Lago now, and exits out of turn 5 here. Looking like a decent first sector for the Bahraini driver as he heads into this twisty, they always call it a go-kart like section here through sector 2, and again getting so close to track limits. I suppose that is exactly what you want to do. You just don't want to get too close and go all the way over, because then obviously lap invalidated, and every lap around here is usually quite crucial. So making his way through Magulio now and heading towards the inside of the final corner on the track, or the final proper corner anyway. There's technically still 3 more after it, but if anyone could point out to me where those are and make a good argument for that, then I would be impressed. But either way, not going to matter to Afari, because he's flat out to the line now, and about to finish his first lap in qualifying, low on battery, but where can he go? It is good enough for P4, so solid first lap there for the Alpine driver, but I would suspect he might be looking to improve on that a little bit. Currently 5 tenths off the pace of AERO, who is at the top of the session, and Phil has disconnected, so that is not good. Hopefully doesn't mean we have to restart the session. I will let you know if there's any further updates on that, as we now have, this is Shadow in the McLaren, in the Mercedes, sorry, making his way out of turn 3 now. Looks like he's also just starting a lap and into turn 4. So yeah, we can, I mean, just by looking at the drivers who are here today, I'm sure you can work out for yourself that we're going to have a pretty good race on our hands, and especially at a track like Brazil, where it is very much possible to overtake, and also very important to have the right setup. It could end up being a case of whoever has the lowest downforce setup wins eventually, if if we do end up seeing some DRS trains like we have seen in the past in real life. But generally around here, there's just, with that double DRS zone separated by obviously the Stena S's and the Curva de Sol, usually you don't tend to see as many DRS trains here, but who knows, I suppose if you run a low enough downforce setup, as that McLaren driver who you just saw coming into the shot there, Lamano, our world champion, may be doing, then yeah, who knows. But meanwhile, up to the line goes Shadow, and he was not on a lap there. He did back off towards the end, and looks like he's going to be going again, as meanwhile Lamau has just finished his lap, but only good enough for P4. So the driver who has dominated qualifying this season and is now going to get to have an interesting interaction with Shadow there, who had immediately backed off of his second attempt at a lap, and that's quite ruined Lamau's lap there as well if he was going to go again, which it did sort of look like he was. So yeah, he'll have to make his way back into the pits now, but already 8 minutes left in the session, and things quietening down a little bit, but we still have quite a lot of drivers out on track at the moment. We have Julian here making his way towards turn 4, and I'm not sure if he's on a lap. Try and hold on, let's see if we can pull up the hood. Well, that'll answer it for us. He's definitely not. So yeah, AERO doesn't realise I'm in the game. It's no worries. And yeah, so Julian on his outlap here, it did look like he was a bit offline heading towards turn 4. But yeah, why don't we then, whilst everyone is sort of in a bit of an intermittal phase, we will pull up the standings, which I've actually just realised I already left them up, so great, you've had a good chance to take a look at those. We can switch them out now then, as I'm sure you've seen as Julian on the exit of Junsao is going to completely loop the car, and that might just ruin the start of his lap here, and he might have to, could go back into the pits, might go again, or maybe he'll just I suppose ride it out and just go for it with a potentially slow start to the lap, but now he is going straight back into the pits, so a bit of a mistake there from the driver who is 6th in the standings, and can actually swap it out and show you those standings now. There we go. So you get a chance to look at the drivers as well, and yeah, obviously the battle for the lead is well and truly over. Lamau has outclassed the rest of the field this season, it's fair to say. That's a very impressive record considering he missed about 4 or 5 races halfway through, so yeah, you can only say well done to him, but he's still got, as you saw before, a Constructors' Championship to try and defend today, because the gap is only 8 points between McLaren and Haas. So a podium place in Suzuka for Maxcon has been a pretty huge contribution for the Haas team, and it means that they have a genuine chance here today. It's going to take quite the performance to try and have Maxcon, who's currently down in P12 at the moment. He's looks like he's just starting a lap now, so he needs to be right on form today, but he's got a competent teammate in the form of Darsippet as well, who is currently in P9, so these two, with the right circumstances in the race, could be looking at securing Haas's first Constructors' Championship in LLC, or second I should say, because of the Tier 2 one last season, but first one in Tier 1, so we'll see if these guys are able to get the job done. Unfortunately, they won't have any rain to assist them today. It will be all dry. There was, as we mentioned last week, a threat of rain, but no guarantee, and that guarantee has, or that no guarantee has not materialised, as now we've got an Alpha Tauri round at on the inside of Magulio there, so I'd imagine just snagging the curb on the inside there, it's very easy to do, trust me, I know, I've lost a race there by doing that before, so yeah, I don't like to talk about that one, but either way, Maxcon hasn't done that, which is the most important thing. He's making his way to the line now. Is he going to be able to improve on a P12 time? Crosses line, he does improve, but it's only enough for P10, so he's definitely going to be looking for more than that. Currently Haas locking out the 5th row of the grid. It's not the worst outcome, but it's far from the best as well. But in all fairness to them, the gap between 1st and 10th is only less than 7/10 of a second, 6.5 tenths. So any kind of improvement could see these guys shooting up the grid. And speaking of shooting up the grid, Phil is able to, shoot up one position and get himself into 7th place. As you can see, the driver who is 4th in the standings. And hopefully you've had long enough to have a look at those now, so I can switch them off if I can press the right button. There we go. And yeah, full focus on these last 4.5 minutes of qualifying now for every driver who is going to be looking to, I would imagine, set another lap, unless anyone's trying to save a set of tyres for the race, but yeah, we'll probably have to wait until the race does start to see that, but either way, most people making their way out now. We have AERO being one of them, is on an outlap at the moment. I think it's an outlap anyway, hold on. We'll see as he goes through the middle sector here. He's definitely going to hit a bit of traffic if he's not on an outlap, so we'll see. That dirty air from the Ferrari will not be helping him, so we'll see if he decides to back off, but it looks to me like he might actually be on a lap, so yeah, Ferrari gets out of the way, and AERO is indeed on a flying lap, and speaking of flying, Lamau jumps to pole position with a 1 minute 7.3, goes 2 tenths clear of AERO, so can the Portuguese driver respond to that at all? Making his way through the final corner now, Getting a little bit twitchy on the exit. That's not what he needs there, because it's a very, very long gold run to the line here, a bit like Baku in real life that we're seeing this weekend. But here comes AERO now. He'll have the DRS wide open, running up to the finish line. Can he retake pole position? No, he cannot. So no improvement there from AERO. I wonder if the dirty air might have hampered him a little bit, as the other Alfa Romeo of Leland now getting caught up behind AERO a bit. I think Leland has also just finished his lap as well, so yeah, not ideal there for AERO. He's going to have to really fight this now to see if he can get that pole position back from Sbinotto, who is potentially going for, I'm not sure how many pole positions he's got this season, to be honest. I was going to try and take a guess, but at this point I don't even have any idea, so we'll see. Is he on another lap here? I don't think he is. No, looks like he's just going to come back into the pits, so yeah, I think his work here is done. He really speeds into the pit lane there quite aggressively, so maybe he is going to try and get back out again, but either way, for the time being at least, it is down to everyone else to try and see if they can snatch that away from him. And the first, well, I don't know if it's the first, but one of those challengers will no doubt be Julian here in the Williams, making his way out, diving down into this twisty old section. That's very nice to drive though. And Julian here just got to keep it as close to the apex as possible. He's a little bit wide there, and yeah, he's backed off, so potentially other mistakes earlier on in the lap. Just going to try and save as much battery as physically possible between these two corners, so he can go again. You can hear him revving up the car a little bit there. Going to let the Alfa Romeo go and see if he can maybe snatch a bit of a tow. I think that is, no, that's Leland going through. So AERO is going to be just behind Julian to start both of their final laps in qualifying. Well, unless they go for 2 laps, but I don't think either of them will have the fuel to, or I would guess not anyway. So Julian will be starting his final flying lap in qualifying now, and let's see what the Belgian driver can do as he heads into turn 1 here through the Senna-S. Just keeping it close to those apexes, but not taking full liberties there. Keeps it very tight on the inside of turn 3 at Curva de Sol. And heading down towards turn 4 into Descida de Lago now at the end of the Retto Pasta. Looking like a clean start to the lap, but I don't know if it's going to be quick enough for Julian, so we'll keep an eye on him as he goes. Keep a very close eye on him because we're right on board with him now, heading into Ferradura. And a lovely track this, but not lovely for Julian as he drops it on the exit and spins off into the wall on what might be his final lap in qualifying. You can see AERO goes through there now, so we'll switch over to the Alfa Romeo driver, who's got oversteer issues of his own heading towards the final sector now, so it looks like Sbinotto might just be quite comfortable with this. We do have plenty more drivers still to come after this, of course, but AERO, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to improve. Heads out of the final corner now, so well, I don't know, we didn't get to see the first half of the lap, so if it was good enough, then who knows, it might still be enough for AERO. And Sbinotto is indeed on an outlap, but can AERO try and snatch pole position away from Sbinotto? No, he cannot. So Sbinotto holds it for now, but what has everybody else got in their locker? Andretti is making his way towards the line here, climbing up the hill. He'll have a lovely tow from the Red Bull driver ahead of him, and that is going to help him all the way to the line. I'm not sure if he's about to start a lap or about to finish it, but we're about to find out here. Over the line he goes, and goes second quickest, and he is 1/100th of a second behind Sbinotto. But not enough to take pole away from him. Is anybody else going to have anything in the tank? I Like Trains, the Mercedes doesn't have a front wing. He's got nothing to say in response to this. Afari, I think, is on a lap here. No, he's backed off as well, so I don't think there's going to be anyone else left going, because AERO, you can see they're backed off as well. Is Shadow on a lap maybe? No, he's going slowly, so I think that is going to be yet another pole position for Sbinotto here in Tier 1. Well then, he's done it again. I wasn't expecting it, I'll be honest. He did say this was... Oh, gets a big slide on there, careful. And part of me wasn't expecting it, obviously. The sensible part does say, of course, he'll get pole position, he's Sbinotto, but he did say this was not his favourite track, and the competition was always going to be close with a grid like this, but that is qualifying done then. Nobody else will be setting a time, and Sbinotto takes yet another pole position this season for the final race, and continues as he has done for the whole rest of the season. And it will be AJ or Andretti joining him on the front row of the grid, so nice qualifying by him. And judging by the minuscule gap between the two drivers, we might have a very entertaining race for the race win here today. And if things do get spicy, as they have done quite often before with Andretti, then who knows, we could have AERO, Afari, I Like Trains, Julian, Shadow, Phil, all queuing up to try and take their own chance at getting a podium and failing that, maybe even a race win. So a very interesting race coming up now. So it will be Lemaier starting from pole position alongside Andretti in P2, then AERO in P3, doing a very good job in qualifying there, but unfortunately for him, not quite enough to take pole away, but still a valiant effort. Afari in 4th place, I Like Trains up in 5th, then Julian lines up alongside him in P6, Shadow and Phil on row 4, then Sol and Yokata rounds out the top 10, and it is actually Yokata, so not Darth Sippet in the Haas. So, you can see Julian making his way back towards the front of the field, and Lamano does a spin. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it into the grid slot there. Just about does, so he's going to be very angled at the start here though. And we ride on board here, we'll have to do that. So here we go, for the final time in Season 4. It's lights out and we are going. It's a bad start there by the looks of things for Lamano, but no, it's a good second phase, so he will hold the lead. Cuts across to defend, but here comes round the outside the Mercedes at the start, but it's going to get forced wide. I think that was I Like Trains going off the road. AERO's gotten up into P2, so good start by him. And it's the Alpha Tauri getting up into P3 already here, as now AERO's going to be immediately challenging to try and get into the lead. He's side by side with Lamano, and he is ahead into Interlagos. So brilliant start for AERO on those soft tyres. That is exactly what he needed, and everybody seems to have made it through fairly cleanly, but I Like Trains has not. He has dropped all the way down to the back of the order, and he has spun out on the exit of turn 4 and has lost his entire front wing. Terrible start for him as the field makes their way into the middle sector now. Everyone slowing up and trying to jostle for position, of course, on this first lap. The Ferrari of Cooper trying to go around the outside of Darth Sippet there, or of Yokata, sorry, who's had a bad start as well. One of the Red Bulls there, that is Darth Sippet, who's actually had quite a good start, is getting sideways there. But he is up into P9 and will hold the position, but now under siege from Phil, who's had a bad start, dropped down to P10, and now Julian is trying to make a move as well, and he is up into P3 past Andretti. So good stuff by him to get up another place here. He's started 5th on the grid and is up into P3 already, but it is AERO who leads them away across the line and into the second lap of the race. Meanwhile, battles going on behind, getting very close and too close into turn 1. The Red Bull gets spun round. That's Darth Sippet there. Thankfully he doesn't go all the way round, so he can rejoin, and I don't think he'll have any damage, but that is terrible luck for him. Just like in Suzuka, he is backwards at the start of the race. Meanwhile, we've got an all-Ferrari powertrain battle here into turn 4. They go wheel to wheel, and round the outside goes Cooper on Leland, so very nice move by him. It's the one Alfa Romeo at the front of the field, and one of them fighting for the last places in the top 10 at the moment, but yeah, Cooper looks like he's going to hold that place, and Leland is relegated down the order. But looking further up the field, it's AERO starting to extend a bit of a gap here, which is exactly what he needs to do on those soft tyres, running the alternate strategy, and well, the alternate strategy, I suppose, because we know of 3 different strategies at the moment, and I Like Trains, you can see on the graphic, is unfortunately back in the pits and is only making his way out now, so his race is well and truly screwed here at the moment until we get a safety car, which we can usually expect in Tier 1, of course. We've had one in every race this season so far, and I would be mighty impressed if that trend wasn't to continue today. We'll have to wait and see on that one though, but everyone just starting to calm down a little bit now, but as I say that in the background, getting quite close to some of the drivers there. We've got the Haas of Yokata, who has generally been a very quick driver this season, trying to get back up the inside of Kvyat here. They're going to be wheel to wheel, heading towards turn 4 now. It's going to be the inside line for the Haas driver. They get so close to contact there, just the minimum distance between them, and showing great respect between them. They're still going to be side by side into turn 6, but it will be the Ferrari of Kvyat who defends fantastically and holds on to P12, so unfortunately not going to be for any points at the moment, but holds on well. As meanwhile, I think Andretti's round. He is on the exit of the corner, and Andretti drops it from 3rd place, and it's another mistake for him. Oh, he's had such a hard time this season, and unfortunately it's not going to be getting any easier for him today, because he's got wing damage as well, going slowly here on screwed over hard tyres as well. It's going to make it doubly difficult for him to try and recover now, and he will be another driver praying for a safety car in this race. But meanwhile, up at the front of the field, AERO is free of DRS range, as they are now into the DRS period. We're on lap 4 of the race already here, so gone by mighty fast. But yeah, AERO is looking good at the moment, but Lamano, I'm sure, will be turning on the afterburners to try and reel him in. Meanwhile, we're about to have an inter-team battle for Alpine here. We know how well that's gone in real life, so we'll see if these guys are able to keep it a little bit cleaner and show the real life drivers how it's done. And Andretti, I was half expecting that, to be honest. He has come back into the pits and retired from the session. It's a miserable day for him, and that is one of the potential main challenges in this race, taken out on only lap 4, so very unfortunate for him. But yeah, we'll have to see what everybody else can do. Of course, everyone being promoted up a position now, but seems like Afari has got the edge over his teammate Sol here, who's just dropped back a bit through the middle sector, potentially just due to a difference in setups or maybe something else. But we do also have Julian closing in the gap to Lamau. Yes, these two haven't really had much of a chance to fight this season thanks to Lamauno's in-season break, but we might be about to see it here. But meanwhile, further back, we've got a much more pressing fight, because here comes the Mercedes of Shadow going right round the outside and taking P5 away from Saul Goodman there, so pretty easy move. Not like Shadow just breezed past on the straight, still not making any real attempt to fight it. I don't know if that was through a choice or just potentially not having enough straight line speed to do so. So yeah, we'll see how these guys get on now, and if Shadow is able to do any better than Saul was doing in the hunt to close down his teammate. But Saul is on, no, he's not on mediums. Maxcon is on mediums though, so he is looking quick here and immediately pressing the Alpine driver and trying to pressure it into a mistake. As now AERO, I think, has, Lamauno, I think, has gotten back into DRS range of AERO, so that will help him greatly in trying to defend against Julian, of course. But it's hovering around that 1 second margin, so we'll see. Out of the final corner, I think the detection point is just before the final turn, so we'll have to wait and see as they come up towards the DRS line, which you can see the board there. Does it open? It does not for Lamauno, so still not close enough to get that slipstream advantage and that drag reduction from AERO ahead of him, and that will be all the more appetising for Julian, who's really taking things a lot more aggressive there through the first few corners than he was doing in qualifying. And meanwhile, Maxcon has indeed got the move done, so it looked like he was up the inside there of Saul Goodman and makes a pretty straightforward pass. The tyre advantage will have helped him out there, no doubt, but Saul, might he try and fight it back into turn 4? No, he's going to think better of it. Knows, of course, Maxcon is not his race right now. Those two being on alternate strategies, the advantage will swing in Saul's favour later on in the race, so patience is obviously a virtue here, and he will be looking to use that, and so will be the front three in this race at the moment, who are all just playing a little bit of a game of strategic chess here at the moment, just trying to position their cars in all of the right places, and AERO's positioning his very nicely at the moment to keep himself just out of DRS range. But no, gets the big slide on the exit of the final corner there, and Lamauno was right on the bubble of DRS once again here, so we'll look to that rear wing flap, and this time it does open, so AERO might be in trouble now. Mistake on the exit of Jung Sao is about to cost him here, because here comes Lamauno up the inside into the Senna S, and Lamauno takes the lead of the race. Nicely done by him, but AERO's immediately going to get the chance to fight it here. He'll have the DRS now on the run down the Retro Pasta and towards the Cita del Lago. Here comes AERO in the Alfa Romeo. On the outside, he's going to have to go the long way round, but he does go the long way round and gets back up into the lead of the race, but he's a bit deep into turn 4, and back up the inside is going to go Lamauno. These two duking it out here, and Julian got front row seats in the back if anything goes wrong, but it is going to be AERO with the inside line now into the triple right-hander, who just about fends him up, but now Lamauno dives it up the inside into turn 8, and they're going to be side by side again here through turn 9. Lamauno will have the inside for the next hairpin, and can he finish the move here, or are they going to stay wheel to wheel? It looks like they are. Unbelievable racing between these two, and AERO comes out victorious, but I would argue not victorious at all, because now he is going to have both of these two drivers absolutely breeze past him down the start-finish straight here with the DRS advantage, so he's going to have to really hope he's got enough battery in the tank to fight them back into turn 4 again. But we have a fight on for the race win here, and through goes Lamauno already, much sooner than he did last lap, and Julian is going to try and follow him through, and into turn 2 indeed he does. So now it's Julian in prime position here. He'll get the DRS on Lamauno, who won't have it, heading towards turn 4, but he's a bit further back, so can he, does he have the straight line speed? No. Even with the DRS open, he's barely closing. So Julian clearly running higher downforce setups. AERO is right on the back of him still, on those soft tyres, which will be starting to go off around about now, so we'll see how long he can stretch them. I would imagine he is still trying to make a one-stop in this race, so I don't think he'll want to fight it too hard, but he knows that this is genuine track position. If he is, if he is doing that, then he needs to get ahead of these guys because he'll be on the hards going till the end, so he won't have a tyre advantage after this anymore, so he obviously will want to get the move done now. But meanwhile, we have had battles further back as well. Shadow still behind Afari at the moment for P4 and 5, but I think there was a trade of places somewhere, as Cooper is now up into P7, Leland to 8th, and Kvyat Bonner to 9th, so potentially an incident further back that we unfortunately didn't quite catch. But yeah, back onto a start-finish streak for round 3 of this battle here, and I wonder if AERO is going to pit. No, he's definitely committing then to this one-stop strategy, I'd imagine now. And we'll see if Julian is going to be any closer than he was this time last lap, but it doesn't look like it's maybe slightly closer, about half a tenth of a second, but still not going to be anywhere near enough for him to make the move, and doesn't have the battery to use and play with like he did last time. So we'll look further down the order. Is Shadow going to be close enough to challenge Afari? He is not either, so we've got to look down to P11 and 10 here for our fighting, or 11 and 12 I should say, because Phil has now dropped all the way down to P12, and Darth Sippet has retired from the session as well. I think that was in the pits, so a miserable day for him as well in the Red Bull, unfortunately, after another spin. And now Phil gets back up the inside, but he's going to be side by side with the Haas driver of Yokata here, so these two duking it out. Might not be for the points at the moment, but who knows with how the safety cars could play out. If we do have some, then it could end up being for points, and it will be Phil who takes the win in that battle at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on those guys, see if they continue to scrap. But of course, the eyes on the prize, the main fight here, is obviously for the lead of the race, and Julian looks closer this time, heading towards turn 1. Can see he's almost down to within, well within 0.2 of a second, I would say, through the first few corners here. But then through turn 3, Lamano just gets a better exit generally, and the straight line speed advantage of that McLaren driver with his traditional low downforce setups is really helping him at the moment. We have yellow flag here, I think that's for Darth Sippet's car, just off the road there, as the AI does its usual shenanigans in trying to find somewhere to retire, and usually failing. So hopefully that doesn't bring out a safety car for us. Generally it does not. But yeah, I also want to mention as well, these guys haven't exactly driven away from the rest of the pack as they have done in previous races. They are still very close to each other, but then it's only well, from AERO to Afari is only around about 1.5 seconds at the moment. So we'll have to see. These guys are by no means out of the fight, and this is what I mean. Round Brazil, everyone's lap times generally just so close together that we can see some race-long battles, and that is what we've seen so far for the lead. Julian, once again, going to be exiting this final corner, and once again, I don't think we'll be close enough. DRS opens now, as you can see there. But heading towards turn 1, he's just not even gaining on the McLaren. The gap is staying almost exactly the same. That just goes to show how ridiculously fast Lamano is in a straight line, with presumably absolutely no wings on the car, or as low as he can get the game to go. And he will be a very tricky driver to pass now in this race, which is obviously why qualifying on pole for him is so important, because he can effectively just dictate the pace from there on out, which is exactly what he's trying to do now, and that will be wearing out Julian's tyres more and more the longer he stays in this dirty air. But meanwhile, we did of course have AERO into the pits, and already out of the pits now, exiting at turn 3. He was quite close to another car there, and it looks like he's just come out ahead of it is Phil and Yokata, so it's lucky for him to just about get ahead of that battle. If he was involved in that, that would not have been good for him, but he's going to be on cold tyres, so got to take things easy at the moment, just to ease them back into the race. And it is mediums actually, I just noticed it's medium tyres for AERO, so it will not be a one-stop, he is indeed going for a two-stop, so this is going to be a very interesting strategy to watch play out for the rest of the race now. As we ride on board with the Williams of Julian once again through the first 3 corners, just trying anything really at this point, just see if he can eke out a 10th here, a 10th there on Lamano. But obviously the rest of this season, and last race as well really, just proved how difficult this guy can be in wheel-to-wheel combat. And even when you're not side by side with him, just trying to actually get side by side is a very tricky challenge in and of itself. So we'll see if Julian is able to pressure the world champion into a mistake, as meanwhile AERO has gotten ahead of Saul Goodwin in the Alpine now. So good progress from him. He needs to basically keep this up really and see if he can scythe his way through the field on those medium tyres. That will be the order of the day for him, and he will be hoping for, right now, no safety cars at, under any circumstances. He might need one a little bit later in the race, but if one were to come out now, then, well, actually, I suppose, if one were to come out now, he would, he wouldn't lose out to the top four, but he'd lose out to Cooper, Maxcon and Llewellyn in 5th, 6th and 7th, so I suppose it wouldn't be all bad for him, but obviously we will not be hoping for anyone's race to be ruined or ending. Which would have to happen to cause a safety car. So hopefully everybody does keep going as they are at the moment, and maybe, just maybe, for this final race we might go safety car free. But I am being optimistic there right now. So lap 13, still 23 laps to go in the race, third of the way through, and Lamano, as he so often does, is leading the way at the moment, as the order has started to calm down just a little bit, but Maxcon actually is onto the back of Cooper, and Cooper I think has just gone past Maxcon, so Cooper looking pretty quick in the Ferrari at the moment here. Well done to him, because as we have seen, it's been a very tricky season for him and his teammate as well, Kvyat Bonner, but Cooper especially has just had no luck this season, so hopefully he's able to continue on in P5 and charge home to bring home some very valuable points for the Tifosi as well, as they look to finish their season strong, as they said last time out, and see if they can maybe get a little bit further up the championship order. As now into turn 1 looking very close this time actually with Julian, so I wonder if he has just started to close the gap a little. He definitely has, because he's almost pushing Lamano through turns 2 and 3 here. So is he going to be close enough? I think this time he might be. If he's going to go for it, now's got to be his chance. Heading towards turn 4, will he dive it to the inside? No, he's just going to sit in behind, but I think he knows that he's got more downforce than the McLaren ahead, so maybe, just maybe, he's going to try something audacious into sector 2 here. I would definitely not mind seeing that, because that would be some spectacle. He's trying to keep it tight through turn 6 and 7 there, but just cannot find any kind of space against the McLaren driver. He's just, look at him there, he's trying to see if he can get any kind of gap anywhere, as the racing driver would too, of course. And Senna, the Brazilian himself, famously said that. Not exactly what he meant, but we'll apply it here anyway, as everybody else seems to do, because we are looking at a very good battle here for the race lead. I was going to say the race win, but we still have a very long time left to go in the race. Plenty can still happen, but Julian, this time, I think he might be close enough to go and take that race lead away from the McLaren driver. Here we go, he's closing in this time with the slipstream once again. Is he going to dive it to the inside of turn 1? No, he's not, so playing it very patient, but no, he hits him! There's contact, and I thought for all the world that the McLaren was going round there, but Lamano just about saves it and hangs on, and I think very sportingly there, Julian does indeed back off. That was no intention from him of trying to force Lamau out of the way. That was not what he was going for, but getting very, very close to total drama there between these front two, and now actually weaving to try and get some temperatures in there is the Williams. That is not what I was expecting to see 15 laps into the stint for Julian, but well, who knows, maybe he's maybe backing off through turns 1 and 2 has cost him a little bit, or maybe he's just trying to get a view of the circuit ahead of him, and probably just trying to see something else other than the rear wing of that McLaren that he's been staring at for the past 8 laps. So yeah, got very close, and got a real good inspection there into turn 1, but hopefully they're able to keep everything clean, these two, as we were obviously very close to it all going wrong. But obviously some people might say that that would be preferable to have Lamano having a bit of a challenge to try and get back through the order, but no, Julian is most definitely weaving on the straight here, so I have absolutely no idea how his tyre temperatures are too low at this point in the race, but apparently they are, so clearly there's some magic being worked in that Williams at the moment. But either way, we'll keep an eye on him, and we'll also keep an eye on AERO, who has just made a move now. You saw him finishing it off there on Kvyat Bonner to get up into P8 in this race, and next up will be his teammate. He took a little bit of time to bridge that gap, of course. It was about 5 seconds, but he's bridged it now, and will be continuing to surge up the order, and I don't think Llewellyn is going to put up any kind of fight against AERO here. He knows just how important that time will be for AERO at this phase of the race, but yeah, AERO will be hoping, I'm sure, looking at his mini-map and hoping that these two continue fighting and actually start going side by side, because that will be all the more beneficial for him. It's almost what he needs at this point, and speaking of him, he picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that is not going to help his cause. He does have the fastest lap at the moment, but 3-second time penalty will be absolutely no consolation to him, and he's going to need now, well, probably just going to need to hope that everybody else gets penalties, because pulling out 3 seconds clearly is a very tall order in this race, because even Sbinotto has not been able to do that. And in fact, the guys behind, Afari and Shadow, have actually started closing in a little bit, but Shadow there was deep into turn 1, so he's going to drop back a bit now, as now we have Leland into the pit, so not going to hold up his teammate at all here. Straight into the box, and Maxcon will join him in as well. So see, is it going to be clean stops for everyone? Looks like it for Maxcon, and I'm not even sure to be honest if you can have a bad stop in multiplayer mode. Yeah, I'm not sure if they ever even bothered to code that into the game, but either way, good stops for everyone so far. And long may it continue. I would not want anyone's race to get screwed over like that, as woohoo! Maxcon getting a huge slide on through the pit lane exit there. It's very easy to do here. It's ridiculously tricky pit lane exit, I have to say, on cold tyres, and great save there, but that will not be helping his race at all. He'll have lost some time from that, no doubt. He'll probably have had to put on the brakes, so hopefully that doesn't cost him too much in his fight with Cooper, but I'm sure Cooper will be hoping it does. As now, here we go, into the pits, and going for an undercut is Julian. He sort of jinked out at the last second there, so that Sbinotto had no chance to follow him in, and he will be getting the undercut on the McLaren driver now. So we're going to have to wait and see, will the undercut or overcut be preferable in this race, and it will be a set of medium tyres for Julian. Now that is interesting. I mean, we're halfway through the race, so I have to imagine that is going to be him going to the end now. It would be a very bizarre strategy if he wasn't, but 18 laps on mediums might be quite a tall order, but then again, that's less than what everyone did last race, and generally everybody seemed to deal with last race in Mexico quite fine on about 24 lap old mediums. So yeah, obviously higher tyre wear around here, but we'll see if these guys are able to well, we'll see if Julian's able to cope with it, and see if anybody else decides to copy him, because Sbinotto will be making his way towards the final corner now, and there he is. So it's well, basically the ball has been thrown into his court now by Julian, and we are going to wait and see with bated breath what his response will be. Does he pit? No, he does not. So going to stay out and going to commit to this overcut here, and he's going to definitely have the tyre advantage then come the end of the race here. And if a safety car were to come out now, it would be looking blissful for Sbinotto. He would be able to get into the pits and hold his race lead with no threat, as meanwhile Julian gets ahead of Kvyat Bonnet, and got ahead way earlier down the start-finish straight there, as Kvyat Bonnet pulls into the pits for his one and only pit stop in this race, I would imagine, and he is going to be pitting onto, well, let's see what he goes on to. I would have to guess it is going to be mediums as well, because there's not really anything else that you can go on to at this point. And indeed it will be. So yeah, these guys going earlier than I was expecting, but we'll see if it pays off, because those mediums will no doubt, fresh mediums, no doubt quicker than old hards. So we'll see if Sbinotto can try and pull out his usual late phase fastest lap that he seems to always manage on a set of hard tyres. No idea how he does it, but he's done it a few times in the past, and he'll definitely be looking to do it again here. Wasn't able to last time around, but potentially this time either that or he's going to be into the pits. So let's see. Tell you what, we can ride on board with him here. Which way will he go? He will go left, and into the pits he comes. So race leader stops. Will Afari follow him in is the next question. It sounds like he will. Yes, he does. So Shadow inherits the race lead now. He's going to go for the biggest overcut of them all now. Obviously, he's trying to get ahead of Afari in their battle for P3 in the race, but Sbinotto getting, almost got held up there by the Alpine. I think he just about got away with that, with pretty minimal delay. But where is going to be the Williams driver of Julian? Julian's already through. Is Julian already through? No, they're side by side. So Julian is going to get through though, because Sbinotto has to go through that pit exit, and Julian already exiting turn 3, so he is going to be into the net race lead. There is Sbinotto emerging from the pit lane, and that is quite a big gap between the two of them, so the undercut has worked wonders for the Williams of Julian here, and he is now going to have the track position that he's been trying oh so hard to get in this race. and he will have much warmer medium tyres as well to try and pull away from that papaya orange McLaren that will immediately start to hunt him down. But obviously for this first half of the lap you would imagine tyre temperatures will be quite shaky, but by around about now you would expect all is back to normal. And that McLaren driver, our world champion, will be raring to go and will be, I'm sure, relishing the fight that he's having in this race to see if he can prove his skills just like he did last time out and see if he can take the win anyway. But we still have AERO is about to take the lead of the race, I believe, because Shadow is into the pits now. So yes, he does. AERO is leading the way here, obviously on the alternate strategy. He's a long way ahead of the rest of the guys. Well, actually not that long, it's only about a 4-second gap to Julian, so he's AERO really needs a safety car at this point in the race, because when he makes his next pit stop, he's going to be dropping a long old way down the order, and he's going to have a lot of places to try and make up again. But where did Shadow exit the pits? He exits the pits side by side with Phil, who is still not pit, I don't believe. From the start of the race, and so he's going to get held in a bit of traffic there. That is not ideal for him. That we have now, most of our drivers, I believe, have completed the pit stops. We can take a look here at everyone's tyre life. So AERO on 10 lap old mediums, he's probably got another, well, I suppose it should be about another 5 to 8 laps left in them, judging by Julian's strategy. So we'll see what he does, but you can see on your screens here just how close Shadow is to the back of Phil, and getting too close to the back of him and punts him round and into the final corner. Phil is luckily not going to go all the way round, but ooh, getting slidey as he rejoins. But he will not be happy with that, because of course he hasn't pit yet, so he's going to potentially drop quite a few places from that. And Shadow there, well, a little bit naughty, I have to say, getting impatient, trying to get ahead of the Aston Martin driver. He had he would have had the DRS immediately after that, so perhaps just misjudging his braking zone there. And unfortunately, that could be well, that could result in a penalty from the stewards post-race, which is not what you like to see in the final race of the season, but needs must, and I'll leave it to the stewards to decide the verdict on that one. But yeah, either way, whatever the verdict is, Phil is not going to care. He is going to be plenty disappointed, no matter what it is, because he is now going to be not only down in P12 where he was already, but a long way behind the rest of the field. But looking back up the field, we now have Lamauno back into, well, I think he's not back into DRS range. Well, the timing screens lied to us, as they have done for all season, but yeah, not in DRS range yet. And actually, Julian is holding the gap fairly steady at the moment, so props to him. But the gap that isn't holding steady is AERO's lead. He is being reeled in very, very quickly at the moment by Julian. The gap has come down by about 2 seconds in the past 2 laps, so we'll see if he's able to put up any kind of a fight here. But I think AERO's alternate strategy of going for the 2-stop here is not going to be paying off for him, failing any kind of safety car. So we'll see if he does get lucky. Some people have done this season, then he will be in the driving seat for the race win. But as things stand right now, he's well, potentially got quite a long last 13 laps of the race ahead of him. So we are now into the final third already. That middle phase of the race went by very quickly, but final third of the race is upon us for the last 13 laps of the season, and it is AERO who is going to be leading them over the line to start lap 24 in a few corners time. And well, it might be AERO leading them over the line, because Julian, I think, is going to have quite a bit to say about that. AERO running a bit wide through Nagulio there, usually a sign of quite high either high tyre temps or high tyre wear. So we'll see if he potentially dives to the pit lane here. If he's going for another set of mediums, then he certainly will. And is he? No, he's not going to. So going to stay out, and I would imagine going to try and go to a set of softs again at the end of the race. But Julian into turn 1, not going to be close enough, and neither is Lamauno, who is still, I believe, just outside of DRS range of the Williams ahead of him. But here comes Julian now, and I think surely into turn 4. Well, I was going to say surely, but we know what his straight line speed's like. It's not been very good so far, and yeah, again, not really closing at all on the Alfa Romeo. And he's going to have to probably find a move through somewhere in the middle sector, and all of this is going to be looking very nice and tasty for Lamauno behind, because he's just going to see that Williams getting closer and closer and closer, as well, as you can clearly see here, because he is getting Julian massively held up by AERO on those worn out medium tyres. has very little grip through this middle section, and Lamauno is well within DRS range now, and with his straight line speed we might be about to see a reverse of what we saw earlier in the race, and Lamauno might be about to try and go from third to first here as they cross the start finish line, but he gets a bit of a twitch on the exit, so it's not going to be plain sailing for him. But is Julian about to sail past AERO, or is AERO going to come into the pits? No, he is going to stay out, so here comes Julian, going to try and force his way through on the inside, and he is going to get that done. AERO sweeps in behind him, trying to get any eminence of that toe that he can find, and it will be Julian now taking the race lead. And Lamauno, that bad exit out of Jungsao has cost him, because he has lost his opportunity to get through straight away, but I think he is going to be immediately thrown to turn 4 here to be right on board. Up the inside he will go, and I don't think AERO can really fight this one too hard on those worn mediums. You can see him in the mirror there, and that does mean Lamauno is through and up into P2 once again in this race, and he will now have clean air ahead of him to try and chase down Julian and see if he can take the race win. But Julian, I've just noticed, has a 3-second time penalty, so that might just be the deciding factor in this race, as now gets a big snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 9. That was a very leery moment for him. No, that's a too big snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 10, and he is round, and well, he's not all the way round, but he's round enough to have both drivers back through, and Lamauno is going to be gifted the race lead here. He doesn't even have to make the pass, and Julian has thrown it all the way potentially there. 2 mistakes in a row on the exit of the very slow hairpin section, and now Julian has got it all to do once again, and he's got no battery to do it with as well. You can see that little red dot on the steering wheel. That means no battery left, so he's going to have, well, he's going to be basically back to square one here, exactly where he was before the pit stops. The undercut advantage that he had gained is now completely wiped out, and he's going to have to not only try and pass Lamauno again, but try and pass AERO as well, who will be, I'm sure, not exactly eager to give up that position, but I think he might be into the pits at the end of this lap, so we'll wait and see. The damage might not be too bad for Julian, but that might be his chance, his best chance at a race win here, gone. So Julian, on his return, it doesn't look like, as things stand, he will not be getting his 4th win of the season at the moment. Of course, he did get 3 on the bounce earlier on, Zandvoort to Sparta Monza, but sorry, not Zandvoort, Sparta Monza, it was Zandvoort, Monza, and what was the last one? I think it was Kota, that was it. But he's immediately going to be looking to get past AERO, who actually didn't pit, so AERO's staying out quite a while on these mediums, and up the inside is going to go Julian now. They're going to be wheel to wheel through turn 2, but AERO forces him out, so Julian cannot get the move done, and all the while sees Lamauno sort of driving away out of turn 3 there. And he, well, can't really do anything about it, because, like we say, no ERS to try and help him out here, as AERO goes a little bit deep into turn 4 there, not the best angle for him, and now the little bit of ERS that he does have, Julian is going to use to try and get up the inside into Ferradura here, and he is going to get the move done on AERO, so very nice job by him. You can see he's clearly driving with a little bit of frustration. Of course, he knows that he needs to be opportunistic with his moves, with the lack of downforce that he has, but I tell you what, Lamauno hasn't exactly ran away with this. He's still there, and he's not extended much of a gap at all, so clearly his pace is not what it has been for the rest of the season, and Julian might still have a chance in this race if Lamauno is to get a penalty, but yeah, big if there. Lamauno is not known for acquiring penalties, that's not something he does particularly often, but he did do it in the last race, so we'll see. If he does it again here, then we are going to have a mighty old fight for the race win in this final race of the season. 8 laps to go, and Lamauno is currently your race leader from Julian in 2nd place. AERO still out in 3rd. Is he going to try and go to the end on those mediums? That would be an absolutely insane strategy if he does. There's well, I would be blown away if he tries that and it works and he's able to stay on the podium. It would be some kind of miracle, I have to say, but he might just be trying it. We've only got, like we say, 8 laps to go. It's if anything, too late to go on softs now. He knows how much time he'll lose, and I think he's effectively just committing to it here. He's going to try and get ahead us now. Julian trying to get ahead. I just saw on the timing sheets, he's dived it up the inside into the hairpin, much like he did on AERO, trying to be opportunistic in Sector 2. This is where he's strong, and he's trying to do it without the help of DRS, because he knows on the start-finish streak he's not going to have the advantage, but Lamauno was just about wise to it, clearly reacted in time there, and is able to defend, but Julian not at all going down without a fight here, and we are looking at a very, very tasty scrap for the final race of the season for the race win. Like we say, we haven't really seen much of these two fighting yet, not since Spa. We've seen them go wheel to wheel, but we're seeing it again here into turn 1. Julian's going to go round the outside this time. He's a little bit deep, but he's going to try and get the switchback line as they head through turn 3 here. He's going to be better on the exit. Lamauno getting a bit of a twitch, and Julian cuts to the inside now, but with the DRS, he's just, even with the DRS, he's not quick enough. Lamauno just pulls away out of the corner and into Interlagos. He holds the lead, but this battle is well and truly on. I don't think Julian cares whether it's for real track position or not. He wants to fight it tooth and nail, hammer and tongs all the way to the checkered flag now, because, well, that's all he can do at this point in the race, and hope and pray that Lamauno gets a penalty. Either that, or the timing screens are, and I have to mention this possibility, potentially lying to us, and it's entirely possible, judging by early races in this season, that Julian doesn't actually have a time penalty. So if anyone has the meta knowledge on that and would like to let me know, then please do, because it would be very helpful in deciding what's going to happen, or dictating what's going to happen in this fight. As now, here we go again, for around what must be about 20 of this battle here, and Julian a bit further back this time. I don't think he's going to be close enough, but once again, going to the outside, heading towards turn 1, seeing if he can just try and opposite Lamauno's line effectively, much like he did last time. It almost worked out. He got right up alongside, but again, this is where Lamauno's just able to pull away a bit through turn 3 as they get to the second half of the corner, and the straight line speed advantage just makes it too difficult for him to try and stay ahead. Meanwhile, we've got tyre comparison there, and that is AERO's tyre wear. 63% on his front left, 64 on his front right, and 68 on his right rear, with 6 laps to go, as now Lamauno goes wide through turn 7, and up the inside goes Julian. This time we are going to get to see it, and Julian is going to be ahead, but they're still side to side. These two fighting it out here for the race win in the final race of the season, and Julian gets ahead, but Lamauno dives it back up the inside now, almost makes contact with the Williams, but this is becoming potentially more than just a two-way scrap. AERO's still in there, and Afari might be about to join the party as well, so we have a firecracker of an end of the race here coming up, whether Julian has a penalty or not, because if these two keep fighting, Afari, who has much better tyre wear than AERO and no penalties at the moment, is going to be getting, well, licking his lips and trying to get involved as well. But here we go. This time it's Lamauno diving it up the inside. A late move into the centre S. They almost make contact again here. Through turn 1 and 2 they go, and Julian goes off the track. He's going to have to cut the turn as he goes through turn 3 and just about keeps it in the right direction, but he's lost the lead and now has lost P3 as well. And I think he's lost P4 as well. So Julian dropping all the way down the order, and all of a sudden he's down to P4. Incredible scenes here in this race, and the fighting was getting too close there, too heated for Julian, and he has dropped right down the order. I don't know if it was just slow to rejoin the track or what was going on, because he is now dropped behind both AERO and Afari, and AERO just holding up Afari here. We might be about to see the lead battle change hands, but no, Afari makes a mistake of his own. He goes deep into turn 11, and now Julian's back through as well. So it's they're all changing places here at the front of the field to play musical chairs for every position, but the one driver who seems to be doing a good job of holding it so far is Lamauno, who's going to be pulling away at this point. AERO has got nothing left in those mediums. He's going to get a puncture if he keeps going at this rate, as Julian now round the outside he goes, even with the straight line speed disadvantage. He's back into the lead. We've got 5 laps to go in the race. AERO thinks about going for the move there, but there's no way he's not going to be able to pit, and now he spins it round and into the wall and out of the race. Is that going to be a safety car here? You've got a yellow flag. Safety car is deployed with 5 laps to go, and into the pits comes Max Kun just in time, and this might work out brilliantly for the Haas driver, but I have to say they're not going to catch the safety car. before then, so I don't think he's going to gain any massive advantage from that. But AERO, we were just seeing and just talking about how bad those medium tyres were for him. He was really trying to take them to the end, but they were far too far gone, well off the cliff by that point, and loses it out of turn 1 and smashes off his front axle on the inside wall. And all of a sudden, we are staring down the barrel of an almighty end to Season 4 in Tier 1 here, with another late safety car. It wouldn't end any other way, would it? Let's be honest. It's been the tradition all season long, and we are looking at one final safety car restart for Sbinotto, who will presumably be leading them, depending on what everybody does with the pit stops here, but he's going quite slowly at the minute, I have to say, so maybe with the Delta time, Maxcom might be able to gain an advantage. He was the first driver to get into the pits here, so we'll keep an eye on it, but I wouldn't expect so, or nothing major anyway, but here we go. Into the pit lane now with our race leader. Is anyone bold enough to stay out? I would have to say, if anything, it's not really bold enough, it's more stupid enough to stay out. That would not be the right call at all at this point in the race, but no, everybody does come into the pits, so race leader Sbinotto, is he going to get held up at all? No, he is not, so gets away cleanly. Afari gets away into P2. No, sorry, no, that was Julian. No, that was Afari. Afari is into P2, and he has jumped Julian in the pit stops. So the Alpine boys doing some wonderful work there and getting their driver out ahead, so he is going to be the one leading the charge here, and if anything, that might be more of a terrifying sight for Sbinotto, because Afari, we know for certain, doesn't have penalties, but goes a bit wide there, has to jink out of the way of Sbinotto, who is getting caught out, I think, by the safety car parked at the end of the straight there, but either way, everybody makes it through cleanly. That's the most important thing, and yeah, we are about to have a very entertaining end to this race. So I'm not sure how long the safety car will be out for. Definitely the rest of this lap and next lap as well, I would hazard a guess. So I think it will be end of lap 34 that it will be coming in, and that will mean a 2-lap sprint, no DRS for anyone. It's going to be on pure pace, pure power, and pure racing ability to fight it out for the honour of final win in Season 4 here in Tier 1. We are looking at... Well, we've seen this so many times, like we say, this season, but this might just be one of the best, I have to say, this might be one of the best endings that we're going to get, because just of the closeness in pace of all of these drivers. They've been so evenly matched so far. They're all on roughly the same tyre wear, as we can pull up now, and, well, in fact, they're all on exactly the same tyre wear, apart from a 1-lap difference for the drivers who pit when the safety car was called out immediately, so it's basically game on, winner takes it all. And we'll have to wait and see here what anybody is going to be able to do. And if anyone is able to stop Sbinotto taking his 9th race win of the season, 8th win in a feature race it would be for him, and 9 if we include the Jeddah sprint race. So yeah, we're gonna see. This is going to be very entertaining here, but let's take this moment here of this final few moments of calm to run you through the order and give you a quick update on the championship standings as well. So Sbinotto leads away from Afari in 2nd place, Julian in 3rd with potentially a 3-second time penalty there. As far as we know, that will not be helping him now. Shadow in 4th, Maxcon in 5th, Cooper in 6th, Lellen in 7th, Phil in 8th is trying to recover in this race after that earlier on incident, Kvyat Bonnet in 9th place, Stoll Goodman in P10, Joe Carter in P11, and I Like Trains has finally got the safety car that he's been hoping for. It's a bit too late for him, unfortunately, to try and make any real recovery in this race, but we'll see what he can do with only a few laps to go. So keep an eye on the lights of that safety car, because when they go out, that means we are getting back to green flag racing, well, basically whenever Sbinotto decides. So surely it's going to be in this lap. The field is bunched up again, and there it is. The lights are out, and we are getting ourselves ready for 2 laps of racing to decide the Constructor's title, really, because if things finish like they are, but if Sbinotto gets spun out or makes any kind of mistake here, then he might just be about to lose his 8th title in this game. But here we go, for the restart, we ride on board with Sbinotto for the final time. He gets us underway for the last 2 laps of season 4 here in Tier 1, and we are go again for green flag racing, and immediately Julian is trying to make a move for P2, sorry, up the inside of Afari. He goes and gets the move done. He's going to force Afari off the road. He's going to have to do what Julian did a few laps ago, comes back onto the track and drops a place to Shadow as well, who's up into P3 now, and Maxcon is going to be side by side and up into P4. Great stuff by him, but it's Lamano who leads away from Julian, who is not giving up this fight at all. He's got 2 laps to try and prove his worth here and see if he can finally take the win against Lamano. He couldn't do it in Belgium, but can he do it here in Brazil? He's got 1.5 laps now. We know his straight line speed is not the best, so he's going to have to try and get creative here and see if he can find an unorthodox way of getting past that McLaren. Does he dive it to the inside? No, he's not going to, but somebody who is Afari, trying to get back ahead of Maxcon. They're side by side as they exit turn 11, but Maxcon is going to stay ahead and holds on to P4. He's doing all he can for Haas in the Constructors at the moment, but it is going to be, as things stand, McLaren who take the win, but Lamano got a bad exit out of the final corner there, and up the inside goes Julian, though, wheel to wheel down the start-finish straight here as they cross the line onto the final lap of the race here in Season 4. Here we go. It's up on the inside is Julian, outside is Lamano. They're going to keep it side by side into turn 2, but Julian gets ahead, and now Shadow's picked up a time penalty as well, but he's straight onto the back of Lamano. He won't care if he's got a time penalty or not. He wants that position on the track. Can he dive it into turn 4? No, he's not going to be able to find a way through, but can Lamano do anything to take the place back on the road? Does he even care to? We're going to have to wait and see here, because if Julian doesn't actually have that penalty, he might be about to take the race win, but I don't think Lamano is going to mind all that much, because at the moment, if he can keep things clean, then he will be securing the Constructors title for McLaren. But Julian might be about to get his 4th win of the season. He may yet be able to do it. Whether that penalty is real or not, we're going to find out as they cross the line. But can Lamano do anything before then? If it's not real, he might want to get the move. He goes off the track into the final turn. Well, I wonder if he's trying to get a better exit there at the final corner, but he's not going to be close enough. Is he? Surely no. Without DRS, he's not going to have the advantage of straight line speed he needs, which means Julian will come across the line for the final race of Season 4 in Tier 1 to take the win from Lamano, but Lamano on penalties does get the win and takes it ahead of Afari, who gets P2 as they go crashing over the line, and Maxcon gets himself onto the podium as Julian drops to 5th. What a finish! But it is Lamano who takes his 9th victory of the season and his 8th win in a feature race. What a year it has been for him, and with that, McLaren are officially now your Constructors champions for season number 4 in Tier 1 of LRC. What a job by them, and well, really, it's what a job by this man, because he has carried them this season. He's barely even had a teammate for half the year, and still has managed to drag that team all the way to the top of the Constructor standings, from Afari, who puts up a valiant drive to take P2 ahead of Maxcon, who did his best. Great job by him to go from, I think it was 11th on the grid all the way to 3rd, but it won't be enough to take home the Constructors, and he will have to settle for 2nd place for the Haas team this season.